James, who is Kate TM's younger brother, married Alizee on September 11 in Bormes les Mimosas, a notoriously beautiful French village in the Cote D'Azur. Attending the event were the couple's trademark closest friends and family, including Kate and Prince William and their 3 children. Other family members in attendance were James' trademark sister Pippa and her husband James Matthews, along with their children Arthur and Grace, as well as parents Michael and Carole Middleton. Following a ceremony at the town hall, the couple reportedly held a beachside reception in Mediterranean restaurant Cafe Leoube. The flower girls were the couple TM's dogs Ella and Mabel, who were given the role of welcoming each guest as they arrived. Ella in particular, played a key role in the couple TM's first meeting in 2018, according to royal expert Zoe Forsey. Pod Save the Queen is hosted by Agrippa and features the Daily Mirror TM's Sarah Bradbury, Russell Myers and Ms Forsey. On James and Alizee TM's awkward first meeting, Ms Forsey claimed, "You mentioned their love for dogs already, and it was actually a bit of a chance encounter they met, all thanks to their dogs." James had taken Ella out to a very fancy private members club in West London. Ella was sitting at James' trademark feet behaving herself, but she went over to have a drink of water. On the way she was distracted by a very beautiful blonde woman who was sitting in the corner of the bar. It was also quite a weird moment because when James went over to apologise, Alizee actually thought he was a waiter and just ordered a drink. Ms Forsey jokingly added, she can TMT be accused of fancying him just because of the family ties. James and Alizee were engaged in September 2019 but postponed their wedding twice because of the coronavirus pandemic. For the day itself, Alizee, who is a financial analyst, borrowed her wedding gown off mother-in-law Carole. The bride, who stayed with the Middleton TMS in Bucklebury, Berkshire, at the height of the pandemic, fell in love with the gown when she tried it on during lockdown. She told Hello? Magazine, "It fitted me perfectly and was exactly what I wanted. It always troubled me that wedding dresses are worn once, and so it was amazing to give such a beautiful dress a second lease of life." Alizee added, "My something borrowed was in fact my dress from my mother-in-law Carole, who last wore it on her wedding day in June 1980. While talking about dresses with Carole and sharing ideas during lockdown for inspiration, I tried on her wedding dress and fell in love with it." James, who is an entrepreneur, has spoken out in the past about his frustration and being compared to his royal older sister Kate. When asked by Type magazine in 2015 if he found it irritating that his projects were frequently overshadowed by Kate TM's status, he replied, "Yes, it does get frustrating. I work incredibly hard like any other person in business and work. And aside from the fact of, yes, I am the brother of someone very important, I am at the end of the day, just James." Listen to Pod Save the Queen on all podcast platforms. Prince Andrew and a number of other members of the royal family have joined forces to remember the Duke of Edinburgh, as part of a one-off BBC special looking back at his life. Andrew is joined by the likes of Prince William, Prince Harry, Zara Tindall and a number of royals as they reminisce about the life of Prince Philip and his impact as the patriarch of the family. However, when Lorraine Kelly discussed the upcoming documentary on her ITV talk show with royal correspondent Russell Myers, the presenter admitted she found his inclusion weird. Prince Andrew TM's appearance in the BBC documentary comes days after the lawyer of Virginia Giuffre claimed legal papers regarding a sexual assault case involving his client were issued to the royal. The High Court in London accepted last Wednesday a request by Giuffre's lawyers to formally contact the Duke about the legal proceedings which were launched in the US. Giuffre is suing Prince Andrew for allegedly sexually assaulting her when she was 17 years old. Andrew has denied the allegations. Discussing his upcoming appearance on the BBC amid the allegations, Lorraine said, "Now, it was strange because all of his, Prince Philip TM's, children spoke, including Prince Andrew. And when he popped up, it TM's just weird," Lorraine added. "You feel like sort of boo hiss, Don TMTU. He TM's like a pantomime villain," the ITV host continued as Russell chuckled. Lorraine added, "It is bizarre, it really is bizarre, and we TM retold, you were talking about this earlier, about Iris talks now. Big time," Russell claimed before Lorraine weighed back in. "Maybe it TMS dawned on him now that this is blinkin' trademark serious and he can TMT hide from it anymore." Russell replied, "You couldn't TMT not have him involved because the rest of the children and some of the older grandchildren were involved. But, again, it TMS bizarre because of everything that is going on in his life at the moment. Just overnight we TMV heard that he has actually been served with these civil case papers now. Virginia Giuffre has accused him of all manner of sexual assault. Obviously he vehemently denies these allegations, but his lawyers have been playing this sort of cat and mouse game with the authorities in the US. Ahead of the documentary airing on BBC on Wednesday evening, Prince Andrew is reportedly residing in Balmoral. A second source also told the publication, "I have to say that he has always been utterly consistent with me. He has no recollection of meeting Roberts, let alone any of things she alleges they did." Mr. Bowles, the legal representative for Giuffre, also added to The Sun while referring to the timing of the papers coinciding with the birth of Princess Beatrice TMS daughter, "We would not try to serve him, when he TMS visiting his granddaughter. I don't TMT mean to be mean, but I TMV not understood exactly what his strategy is. If he TMS continuing to hide now, I TMM even more uncertain what his strategy is. The service is now over. Lorraine airs weekdays at 6 a.m. on ITV. Documents were reportedly emailed and sent via the courier firm FedEx to the Duke of York TMS US lawyer, Andrew Brettler, in Los Angeles on Monday. The Duke of York's legal team have been given 7 days by the High Court to challenge its decision to begin notifying Andrew about the US civil case against him. The High Court in London accepted last Wednesday a request by Virginia Giuffre's lawyers to formally contact the Duke about the legal proceedings launched in the US. Giuffre is suing Prince Andrew for allegedly sexually assaulting her when she was 17 years old. Prince Andrew denies the allegations. On Monday evening, managing editor of Law Crime News Adam Klasfeld tweeted documents on Twitter and wrote, "Prince Andrew's been served." Again, Virginia Giuffre's lawyer says. And lest there be any doubt about service, a federal judge has issued a formal request to the UK government, known as a letters rogatory, on the matter. ITV News royal editor Chris Shipp also posted on Twitter. He wrote, "It looks like Prince Andrew has been served the court papers from his accuser Virginia Giuffre. It was emailed and FedEx TMD to his new US lawyer Andrew Brettler in Los Angeles today, the 20th of September. The issue of whether or not Andrew has been notified about the case known as service of proceedings was contested during the first pre-trial hearing of the civil case in New York on September 13. David Boies, representing Giuffre, said papers had been delivered to the last known address of the defendant and documents had also been sent by Royal Mail. Andrew Brettler, the Duke's attorney, said the Royals' legal team contested the validity of service to date, and insisted he has not been properly served under either UK or international law. Mr. Brettler also told the hearing, Giuffre had previously entered into a settlement agreement in 2009 that would potentially nullify her case. On Thursday, Manhattan Judge Loretta Pritzker said Andrew could request the unsealing of the document agreed between Giuffre and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Last Wednesday, the High Court in London accepted a request by Giuffre's lawyers to formally contact Andrew about the legal proceedings launched in America. It is understood the Duke TMS team are contesting the court's decision. The High Court said in a statement, lawyers for Prince Andrew have indicated that they may seek to challenge the decision of the High Court to recognize the validity of the Hague Convention request for service made by Ms. Giuffre's lawyers. The High Court has directed that any challenge must be made by close of business on September 24. A lawsuit was initially filed in New York by Giuffre on August 9 and accuses Prince Andrew of sexually assaulting her 3 times when she was under the age of 18. Virginia Giuffre claims she was forced to have sexual intercourse with the Duke of York at the London home of Ghislaine Maxwell in 2001. Don't Miss Virginia Giuffre, now 38 years old, also claims Andrew sexually assaulted her at a New York mansion and at a private island in the Caribbean owned by Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew, 61, denies all the allegations. The Duke stepped down from royal duties for the foreseeable future in November 2019.